Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when the weight on your shoulders feels too heavy to carry, when doors seem to close faster than they open, and when silence from heaven feels louder than any storm around you. In those moments, it's easy to believe something is wrong with you, that you're being punished, that life has somehow cursed you. But what if the very pressure you feel is not an attack meant to break you, but a process designed to build you? What if everything you're facing right now is not a sign of defeat, but a signal that destiny is drawing near? Every great story ever written has a turning point, an Antep moment when struggles become stepping stones, when delay becomes training, when pain becomes preparation. And the truth is, what looks like restriction is often divine protection. What feels like loss can be the beginning of a greater gain. You are not standing in a graveyard of dead possibilities. You are standing in a workshop where heaven is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and capable of carrying more than you ever imagined. You are not cursed. You are being refined. You are being strengthened. You are being positioned for something bigger than the battle that is in front of you. The waiting you hate is developing the faith you'll need. The challenges you face are cultivating the resilience your calling required. And the unanswered prayers you worry about are aligning you with a path you could not see on your own. So today, open your heart, lean in, because the very thing you thought was working against you may be the thing lifting you toward your breakthrough. This is not the end of your story. It is the divine preparation for the chapter you've been praying for. You are being prepared, not punished. This truth carries a weight that can shift the entire atmosphere of a person's life if they allow it to settle into their spirit. There are seasons when everything around you feels tight, confusing, and overwhelming, and in those seasons, the human heart naturally jumps to conclusions. It's easy to believe that hardship is a sign of rejection, or that closed doors mean you are somehow unworthy, overlooked, or forgotten. But when you step back and look again through the lens of faith, you begin to realize that not everything painful is meant to destroy you. Some things are meant to develop you. Some storms are designed not to drown you, but to deepen you. And there is a kind of pressure that doesn't crush, it creates. Preparation never feels gentle because it is shaping you for something greater than your current comfort. Think of a seed buried beneath the ground. To the seed, the darkness could feel like punishment. The weight of the soil might feel suffocating. The isolation may appear like abandonment. But that seed is not being punished, it is being positioned. What looks like burial is actually planting. What feels like the end is the beginning of transformation. And just like that seed, there are times when God places you in situations that seem restrictive because He knows the potential inside you requires a specific environment to emerge. Growth demands pressure, development demands stretching. Strength demands resistance. Purpose demands preparation. When you understand this, your perspective about hardship changes. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you start asking, "What is this shaping within me?" Instead of assuming God is against you, you begin recognizing His fingerprints in places that feel uncomfortable. You begin to see that the disappointments that stung you were redirecting you. The delays that frustrated you were protecting your timing. The things that didn't work out were never meant to be part of your destiny. And the battles you didn't want to face are sharpening something in you that ease never could. Preparation requires pruning, and pruning always feels like loss at first. Something gets cut away, something gets removed, something gets trimmed back because the potential for greater fruit is hidden beneath the surface. You are not being punished when things are taken away. You are being refined so your life can carry more purpose, more clarity, more power. Even people who leave you, opportunities that slip through your fingers, or dreams that seem delayed, all fall under the same truth. When God prepares you, He also protects what is meant for you. You may wake up in seasons feeling drained, confused, or stretched thin, but even that is evidence that you're being elevated. Growth rarely feels like growth while you're in it. Muscles only get stronger through resistance. Faith only deepens through uncertainty. Patience only matures through waiting, and character only solidifies through testing. You are being prepared in ways you do not yet see, for things you have not yet touched, to walk into rooms you haven't yet imagined. There is a divine intentionality woven through every season of your life. Nothing is wasted. Even your mistakes are being used as training. Even seasons of silence are building your sensitivity. Even moments of brokenness are teaching you compassion, humility, and dependence on God. There's a depth inside you that comfort could never produce. There's a strength you've gained through experiences you never would have chosen. And while you may not understand every step, the purpose behind each step is shaping you for something that will make sense in hindsight. Preparation always intensifies right before breakthrough. The enemy fights hardest when you're closest to elevation. The pressure increases when your next level is near. And the spiritual stretching grows most painful when the assignment ahead requires a version of you that you've never been before. If you feel stretched, it is because you are expanding. If you feel pressed, it is because you are being strengthened. If you feel shaken, it is because God is removing what cannot go with you into what He has prepared. You are being prepared in your mindset, the place where perspectives shift, where lies are uprooted, where faith is built. There are battles in your mind that God allows you to walk through so that doubt can no longer control you. Every time you choose faith over fear, perseverance over quitting, trust over anxiety, heaven records that growth. Your mind is being reshaped to recognize possibility in places where you once saw limitation. You are being prepared in your character, the unseen place where integrity, discipline, patience, and humility are forged. God cares more about who you are becoming than where you are going. He will not elevate you into a position your character cannot sustain. So when you feel tested in your reactions, your attitudes, or your ability to stay faithful in small things, understand that these are not punishment. They are rehearsals for the greater responsibilities attached to your destiny. You are being trained to handle what you prayed for. Every heartbreak you survived, every disappointment you pushed through, every chapter that closed taught you something invaluable about your own strength. Emotional preparation is part of spiritual preparation. God strengthens your heart so that when blessings come, you can carry them without being overwhelmed or misled. You are being prepared spiritually, developing a deeper reliance on God, learning to recognize His guidance, and discovering that He remains faithful even when circumstances are uncertain. Spiritual maturity grows in the tension between what you feel and what you know. You learn to stand firm even when you don't see answers. You learn to pray deeper, worship louder, and trust longer. None of this is punishment, it is preparation. You are being prepared relationally. God removes the wrong voices so you can hear Him clearly, and He brings the right people at the right time to strengthen your journey. Some relationships end not because you failed, but because your next level requires different alignment. When God prepares you, He separates you from what would sabotage your future because connection determines direction. You are being prepared in vision, learning to dream bigger, think beyond limits, and see possibilities where you once saw dead ends. Sometimes God delays what you ask for so He can expand what you believe for. He stretches your imagination until what once seemed impossible becomes expected. This is not punishment, it is enlargement. Preparation is the birthplace of transformation. It is the invisible work behind every visible blessing. It is the reason doors open when they do, and the reason you will eventually walk in strength you once prayed for. Even now, in ways you do not realize, heaven is aligning people, opportunities, breakthroughs, and resources with your journey. But for you to receive them without losing yourself, you must be prepared internally. You are being prepared every time you choose growth over comfort. You are being prepared every time you surrender what you cannot control. You are being prepared every time you rise after falling. You are being prepared every time you walk by faith when fear tries to paralyze you. You are being prepared every time you trust that there is purpose in the process, even when the process feels unfamiliar. Something within you is being shaped for a future that God already sees. A future you are gradually growing into, step by step, season by season. Delays and challenges are divine training for your next level. This is a truth many struggle to grasp because delays often feel like denial and challenges feel like opposition. When things don't move at the pace you expect or when obstacles rise out of nowhere, the natural response is frustration, anxiety, or discouragement. But there is a hidden wisdom in every delay and a divine strategy behind every challenge you face. What feels like a pause is often preparation. What feels like resistance is often and what feels like stagnation is often alignment, positioning you for something greater than what you currently perceive. Delay is not the absence of progress. It's the space where God strengthens you for what's ahead. You may think you are waiting for something, when in reality something is being prepared for you, and you are being prepared for it. Timing is a divine tool. A blessing delivered too can become a burden. A door opened prematurely can expose you to battles you're not equipped to fight. So when God holds you in a season longer than you expected, it is not to punish you, but to ensure that when you step into your next level, you step in with stability, maturity, and capacity. Delays are not empty seasons. They are classrooms where purpose is taught, faith is tested, and endurance is built. Challenges, too, serve a sacred purpose. They are not signs of abandonment. They are indicators that something valuable is being developed within you. Every time you face a challenge, you are being trained to handle greater responsibility, greater influence, and greater blessing. Strength is not built in ease, it is forged in resistance. Destiny requires weight-bearing capacity, and challenges are the weights that build spiritual muscle. When you press through hardship, you become someone who can carry what others drop. When you endure trials, you become someone who can stand firm where others fall. You are not just going through challenges, you are growing through them. Every challenge carries a lesson, and every lesson is shaping the version of you that your next level requires. You learn resilience in difficulty. You learn patience in waiting. You learn wisdom in confusion. You learn courage in moments of fear. And you learn dependence on God when your own strength falls short. These are not small qualities. These are foundation stones for the life you're being prepared to walk into. Your next level is bigger than your current capacity, and challenges stretch you until you can handle what is coming without breaking under the weight of it. In waiting seasons, distractions reveal themselves. Impatience tries to lure you into settling. False opportunities show up to test whether you trust God's timing or your own desires. But as you wait, your spiritual eyesight sharpens. You begin to recognize that not every open door is divine. Not every offer aligns with your destiny. Not every person who appears supportive is assigned to your journey. Delays protect you from entering rooms that are not part of your calling, and from connecting with people who cannot walk with you into your future. Life at the next level won't require less of you. It will require more. More focus, more discipline, more faith, more strength, more clarity. Challenges are the training ground for these qualities. If you've ever wondered why certain battles keep appearing, it's not because you're failing, it's because those battles are sharpening you, strengthening you, fortifying you. You cannot step into a new dimension with the same level of endurance you had before. Every elevation demands a stronger foundation, and challenges are the tools that construct that foundation. You may think nothing is happening, but in the unseen realm, everything is being organized with precision. Sometimes God delays you because the place you're going is not ready yet. Other times, the people connected to your blessing are still being prepared. There are moments when the environment itself must shift before you can step into it. And sometimes the delay is for your own protection, because the timing you desire would expose you to things you are not yet ready to confront. Divine timing is not random. It is crafted with intentionality to ensure every piece aligns with your purpose. They reveal fears you didn't know you had, insecurities that need healing, habits that need breaking, and thought patterns that need transforming. Without challenges, these weaknesses would remain hidden and sabotage your future. But challenges surface what needs correction so that you can move forward unhindered. This is not punishment, it is preparation. Your next level requires wholeness, and challenges are often the mirror that shows you which areas God wants to refine. Delays cultivate humility, patience, and gratitude. They train your heart to appreciate what you receive, not take it for granted. They teach you to trust God not only for outcomes, but also in the process. They remind you that destiny is not achieved through striving alone, but through surrender and alignment. When blessings finally arrive, delays ensure you carry them with gratitude instead of entitlement. They build an appreciation for the journey, not just the destination. Challenges deepen your connection with God. You pray differently when you're facing something you can't solve on your own. You worship differently when your heart feels heavy. You cling to promises differently when your circumstances contradict them. Challenges push you closer to God, and in that closeness, you discover strength you didn't know you had, and peace that surpasses understanding. Your next level requires a deeper walk with God, not a shallow one, and challenges build that depth. They teach you to manage disappointment without collapsing. They teach you to stay steady when outcomes aren't immediate. They teach you to hope even when you can't predict the timeline. Emotional resilience is a spiritual asset. Without it, you'd crumble the moment pressure intensifies. But delays train your emotions until you can stand strong under pressure and maintain your peace when surrounded by uncertainty. Challenges refine your mindset. Every time you overcome a problem, your confidence grows. Every time you survive something you thought would break you, your perspective shifts. You start to realize that obstacles are not final and that you are far stronger than you believed. Your mindset becomes more resilient, more determined, more grounded. A transformed mind is one of the greatest forms of preparation for destiny. Without it, you would sabotage opportunities through fear, doubt, or insecurity. Challenges ensure that your mind evolves before your environment does. Delays stretch your faith. Faith is not proven when everything happens immediately. Faith is proven when you continue believing even when nothing changes. When you hold on to a promise longer than you expected, your spiritual muscles strengthen in ways that accelerate your growth. Faith developed in delay becomes unshakable at elevation. The confidence you gain through waiting becomes the anchor that stabilizes you when responsibility increases. The challenges cultivate your discipline. They force you to create routines, habits, and structures that elevate your life. When things become harder, you learn to adapt, to improve, to rise above what once limited you. Discipline is the currency of elevation. Without it, doors may open, but you won't remain in the room. Challenges teach you to stay consistent even when motivation fades. This consistency is essential for your next level. Delays also separate you from people who are not meant to journey with you. Some relationships fade in delayed seasons because those individuals were only tied to your momentum, not your mission. Delay reveals who truly believes in you and who was only around for convenience. It purifies your circle so that your next level is surrounded by people aligned with your purpose, not your past. Challenges strengthen your voice. When you go through battles, you gain authority. Your words carry weight because they are backed by experience. People listen to someone who has endured and overcome. The challenges you face now become the testimony that impacts lives later. You are gaining spiritual authority through every trial, whether you realize it or not. Delays redefine what you value. They help you see beyond temporary desires and reach for what truly matters. They align your heart with long-term purpose rather than short-term comfort. They teach you to pursue what is eternal, not just what is immediate. This shift prepares you for the higher responsibility and greater influence that come with your next level. Challenges build your courage. Every time you conquer something that intimidated you, your spirit expands. Courage doesn't appear out of nowhere. It is built one challenge at a time. Your next level requires a boldness that can only be developed through facing what frightens you and discovering that you can survive it. They reveal who you really are apart from achievements, recognition, or timelines. They help you understand that your worth is rooted in purpose, not in pace. Identity secured in God cannot be shaken by circumstances, and delays are where this identity is forged. Challenges train your adaptability. Life at the next level changes quickly. New responsibilities, new environments, new expectations. Challenges teach you how to adjust without losing yourself. They build flexibility, resilience, and creative problem-solving qualities essential for leadership and impact. Delays awaken gratitude for small beginnings. They remind you that greatness often starts quietly and grows over time. When you learn to appreciate the process, you stop rushing and start growing intentionally. Your gratitude becomes an anchor that sustains you at higher levels. Delays and challenges are not barriers. They are bridges, carrying you to a future that requires everything being shaped within you right now. What feels like loss is positioning you for breakthrough. Loss has a way of shaking the human spirit in ways few experiences can. It creates questions you never thought you'd ask, emotions you did not expect to feel, and seasons you never planned to walk through. When something leaves your life, whether it's a relationship, an opportunity, a dream, a plan, a sense of security, or even a version of yourself, you often feel like the ground under your feet has shifted. Loss interrupts your rhythm, interrupts your confidence, and interrupts the vision you held for your future. Yet in the realm of faith, loss is rarely final, and it is never wasted. What feels like the end is often the doorway into a beginning that could not have unfolded without something first being removed. Breakthrough is not born from comfort, it's birthed through moments when something is stripped away so that something greater can emerge. In the moment, loss feels harsh, sudden, and unfair. It can feel like everything is collapsing, like your prayers were ignored, like your efforts were overlooked, like your trust was misplaced. But what if the thing you lost was never meant to stay? What if it was blocking what God wanted to give you? What if it was holding you in a place too small for your calling? There are times when you cling to something because it feels familiar, not because it's fruitful. And there are times when God allows something to be removed, because he knows you would never let it go on your own. Loss can be painful, but it can also be purposeful. It clears the space for what is aligned with your future, not your past. Every breakthrough requires separation. A plant cannot flourish unless dead branches are cut away. A sculptor cannot reveal beauty until he removes what is unnecessary. A goldsmith cannot purify metal unless it is placed in fire. And in the same way, there are things, people, habits, and environments that cannot follow you into your next level. They must fall away because they are incompatible with the version of you that your destiny requires. Loss isn't always rejection, sometimes it's transformation. What you lost may have been good, but breakthroughs are built on what is best, not what is merely comfortable. Loss teaches you what truly matters. It strips away illusions, revealing the strength hidden beneath your vulnerability. It forces you to confront what you depended on emotionally, financially, spiritually, or mentally. It awakens you to the truth that certain foundations were never meant to support your future. And as things fall apart, new clarity rises. You begin to see yourself more clearly. You begin to understand your purpose more deeply. You begin to value relationships, opportunities, and growth with new eyes. Loss reshapes you into someone who can carry breakthrough with wisdom, maturity, and gratitude. When one door closes, you may feel abandoned, but often that closing prevents you from walking into harm or settling for less. Sometimes the very thing you're crying over is the thing God was trying to protect you from. Sometimes the relationship that ended was shielding you from betrayal. Sometimes the job you didn't get was preventing burnout or stagnation. Sometimes the dream that didn't manifest in your timeline was saving you from stepping into a future you weren't ready for. Redirection doesn't always look like blessing at first glance, but it becomes clear over time that what you thought was loss was actually rescue. In seasons of loss, God is not subtracting from your life without purpose. He is making. You may not see it instantly, but loss creates spiritual, emotional, and mental space for something bigger, stronger, and more aligned with your calling. You cannot receive with closed hands, and sometimes what you're holding so tightly must be loosened before your breakthrough can unfold. Loss removes what would weigh you down in the next season. It frees your spirit, sharpens your focus, and aligns your heart with possibilities you couldn't see while you were clinging to what had already served its purpose. Breakthrough requires strength, strength to endure, strength to believe again, strength to rise repeatedly. This strength is not built through comfort, it is forged through seasons where you survive what you thought would break you. Every time you stand after falling, every time you hope after disappointment, every time you pray after heartbreak, your spirit grows stronger. Resilience is not loud, but it is powerful. It is the quiet force that carries you through doors others only dream of walking through. Loss may shake you, but resilience anchors you until the breakthrough arrives. The journey through loss also deepens your faith. When you cannot rely on what you used to lean on, you learn to rely fully on God. When familiar structures crumble, you discover the foundation that cannot be shaken. When what you loved slips away, you turn toward the one who never leaves. Loss strips away false dependencies and brings your heart into alignment with divine strength. Faith becomes more than words, it becomes a lifeline. And faith developed in loss becomes the unwavering confidence that carries you through your breakthrough and sustains you long after the blessing comes. Sometimes you're not ready for the blessing you prayed for because your heart is still entangled with something that cannot coexist with the next chapter. You may still be tied to old habits, old mindsets, old relationships, or old expectations. Breakthrough requires internal readiness, not just external opportunity. Loss cleanses the heart, it releases burdens you've carried for too long. It heals wounds you didn't know were still open. It detoxes your spirit from disappointments, fears, and lies that kept you from recognizing your own worth. After loss, your capacity expands, your discernment sharpens, your openness grows, and suddenly what comes next has room to settle in your life without being suffocated by what feels like loss is also a transition point. Think about the caterpillar that must shed its form to become a butterfly. Think about the seed that must break open before it can sprout. Think about the night that must fall before the sun can rise. Transition always carries both endings and beginnings. And although the ending is painful, the beginning often carries greater glory. Loss marks the closing of one chapter, but it also signals the start of something new, something you could not experience without first letting go of what had fulfilled its purpose. There are seasons where you are praying for strength while carrying things that weaken you. You may be attached to environments that limit you, people who misunderstand you, or routines that keep you stagnant. When God wants to elevate you, He begins removing what hinders your progress. At first, it feels like loss. Later, you realize it was liberation. Breakthrough requires freedom. Freedom from patterns that restrict you, freedom from mindsets that sabotage you, freedom from relationships that confine you, and sometimes the only way to free you is to remove what you would never let go on your own. Loss also stretches your vision. When something familiar ends, you are forced to look beyond what you once expected. You begin to imagine again. You begin to dream big. You begin to consider paths you would have dismissed before. Loss widens your perspective by removing the boundaries of what you thought life should look like. Breakthrough often arrives on the other side of expanded vision. When you stop looking backward and begin looking forward, a new landscape unfolds, one shaped by possibility rather than memory. When you've walked through loss, you become someone who can lead others through their storms. Breakthrough is not only about personal victory, it also positions you to help others rise. The humility gained in loss becomes the wisdom you use to encourage, strengthen, and guide others. You gain authority because you endured something real. You gain compassion because you know what pain feels like. You gain understanding because you've lived through seasons that forced you to grow. These qualities prepare you for influence that is rooted in character, not pride. Loss reveals your true allies. When everything is stripped away, those who remain are those assigned to your destiny. Loss exposes superficial connections and strengthens authentic ones. The people who walk with you through loss are the people who help you carry your breakthrough. These relationships are not accidental, they are strategic. And often you cannot meet them or recognize them until something in your life shifts through loss. Gifts you forgot you had, dreams you buried, creativity you neglected, strength you never knew existed, all begin to rise when old structures crumble. Breakthrough often emerges as you rediscover who you really are, not who you were forced to be. Loss uncovers the layers hiding your identity, reminding you of the greatness placed within you long before difficulty came. What feels like loss positions you for divine acceleration. Sometimes you experience a setback only to later realize it pushed you further than you would have gone without it. A closed door leads you to a better path. A broken plan opens the way for a greater one. A season of emptiness makes you ready for overflow. God often moves the fastest after you've been still the longest. Loss slows your pace so your breakthrough can be perfectly timed. Every loss contains a seed of transformation. It may not feel like it immediately, but something is shifting beneath the surface. Something is being birthed. Something is being aligned. Loss changes you, shapes you, matures you, refines you, prepares you. What feels like loss is not the end, it is the sacred space where God positions you for breakthrough that carries more glory, more purpose, and more fulfillment than anything you let go of. And so, as you stand on the edge of everything you've endured, remember this: nothing you lost, has diminished you. It has defined you, strengthened you, and aligned you for what heaven has already prepared. Your story is not collapsing, it is unfolding. What felt like breaking was actually building. What seemed like detours were divine directions. You have not been reduced, you have been refined. You are stepping into a season where what tried to stop you will no longer have the power to hold you. Lift your head, steady your heart, and fix your faith, because the breakthrough forming behind the scenes is greater than anything you've ever imagined. Your next chapter isn't coming, it's here, and you are